It all started on a humid summer evening when I decided it was time to find out the truth about Primetime. My ex-boyfriend who had once promised me the world, but left me wondering if his words ever held weight or if they were just empty syllables, floating in the air like the promises of a man who never intended to keep them. I had seen him around with different women since our breakup, but none had stood out quite like the one he was currently seeing. She was what many would call a baddie. Flawless makeup, perfect curves, designer, everything she dripped in wealth. But the question remained, was she truly there for him? Or was she just another gold digger waiting to cash in on his generosity? I had to know, I had to see for myself if he had really moved on. And if he had moved on to something real, or something artificial, something built on love, or something built on the desire for material gain and social status. So I devised a plan one that would put his loyalty to the ultimate test. I enlisted the help of my best friend Mia, who had been with me through it all. The heartbreak, the late-night phone calls, the countless times I had tried to move on, only to be pulled back into the memory of what once was. She agreed that this was necessary not because I wanted him back, but because I needed closure. And closure only comes when you have the full truth, no matter how painful it may be. The plan was simple. We would create the perfect setup, a scenario that would test if Primetime was still the man I once knew, or if he had become someone blinded by beauty and status rather than substance and loyalty. We found the perfect girl to play the role of the gold-digging baddie, a stunning influencer named Vanessa, who was more than willing to play the part. She understood the assignment and was ready to go all in to see how In would react. We set the scene at one of the most exclusive rooftop lounges in the city, a place where the elite gathered to show off their wealth and status. We knew Win would be there because he always was. Friday nights were his thing, and he never missed an opportunity to be seen at the hottest spots in town. We arrived early and made sure Vanessa was strategically placed, so that their paths would cross naturally. As expected, Yin walked in dressed in his signature designer ensemble chains, glistening under the dim lounge lights. Confidence oozing from his every step. He was with a few of his boys laughing and living it up. But the moment he laid eyes on Vanessa, his demeanor shifted. It was as if he had spotted a rare diamond in a sea of gold. His eyes locked onto hers, and the hunt began. Vanessa played her role flawlessly. She exuded charm, mystery, and just enough interest to keep him hooked, but never too much to seem desperate. She let him do the chasing, and he did. He offered to buy her drinks, complimented her on her style, leaned in close every time he spoke, ensuring that his presence was felt, and just like that, I saw him falling. I watched from a distance, heart-pounding hands clenched into fists. It was a surreal moment, seeing the man I once loved fall so effortlessly into the trap we had set. It wasn't just about whether he would entertain Vanessa, it was about how easily he did it, how quickly he forgot the woman he was supposedly with, how easily he let himself be swept away by a pretty face, and the illusion of something better. Vanessa took it a step further, mentioning how she loved men who spoiled her, how she only dated men who knew how to take care of a woman financially. In smiled, nodded, and without hesitation said that he had no problem doing that. After all, what was money if not a tool to keep a woman happy? My stomach turned. My head spun, the reality of it hit me harder than I had anticipated. He was willing to drop everything at the mere suggestion that money could buy love, loyalty, or whatever it was he thought he was getting from Vanessa. I felt Mia's hand on my shoulder grounding me, reminding me why we did this. I had my answer. I didn't need to see any more, but before we could leave, Vanessa decided to push further. She told In she wanted to go shopping the next day, and she expected him to take her. He laughed, agreed, said he'd pick her up in the afternoon. At that moment, I knew there was no coming back from this. He had failed the test spectacularly, and there was no denying it. As we walked out of the lounge, I felt an odd sense of relief mixed with heartbreak. I had always held onto this small hope that maybe, just maybe, he was still the person I had fallen in love with. But tonight proved otherwise. I didn't need to confront him. I didn't need to say a word. The truth was laid bare in front of me, and that was enough. Mia. And I sat in the car in silence for a while before she finally spoke. "Are you okay?" she asked. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could truly answer that question. "Honestly, yeah," I said. "I think I finally am." Days passed, and I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened. I realized that Inge had been a lesson, not a loss. He showed me what I no longer needed in my life, what I would never settle for. Again, Vanessa later told me that she ended the act before the shopping trip could even happen. She said she didn't have the heart to drag it out any further because it was clear he was already hooked the moment she mentioned money. I blocked Inesi. Number deleted his pictures and let go of the version of him I had been holding onto for far too long. I focused on myself, on my happiness, on rebuilding, without the weight of someone who didn't deserve me hanging over my head. Mia and I laughed about it days later, realizing how absurd it all was, how blind I had been, but also how much I had grown. One evening, as I was walking through the city, taking in the glow of streetlights and the distant hum of traffic, I felt a strange sense of peace. I no longer needed answers because I already had them. I no longer needed closure because I had given it to myself. I smiled at the thought that the past no longer had a hold on me. And with that, I walked forward, leaving it all behind for good.